For 6 standard days, the Melora Geological Survey Office had analyzed the granite monolith. Their conclusion was final. El Capitan was ascent impossible without grav suspension technology of at least Tier -4 sophistication. 3,000 feet of vertical granite, a wall of stone that defied physics by every known measure. They submitted the paper. They prepared for peer review.
No rope, no anchors, chalk, shoes, a granola bar. The rock will tell me the rest.
At 0517 local, Alexander Reeves placed his first hand on the granite and pulled away from the ground. His fingers, white with chalk, found edges no alien sensor would register as holds. High above Earth, the Melora orbital station drifted, its sensors blind to the biological anomaly already in motion, 30 feet up the wall.
The data is irrefutable. No biological organism could ascend without external gravity control.
And the human surface activity near the formation.
Tourism. They photograph, not climb. No species that fragile would attempt the vertical.
The hum started low in his chest, an old habit. It kept the rhythm. The rock listened.
57 minutes into the climb, the orbital sensor grid registered a biological mass moving vertically at an angle that broke every known physical model.
Rylan, come look at this. The surface scanner just flagged a moving contact on the El Capitan formation.
That's impossible. Recalibrate the array.
I've recalibrated 3 times. It's a lone biological entity, climbing, already at 400 feet.
The Melora survey craft broke orbit within minutes, thrusters blazing a streak across the California sky. At 1,200 feet, the craft slid sideways until its viewport filled with granite. A tiny human, suspended from nothing but his own flesh and chalk, turned his head and lifted one hand in a calm wave.
That hand, that's not anti-gravity. That's just his arm.
The wind shifted. Something metal and distant hummed nearby. It broke the rhythm a little.
The alien craft hovered, silent. The human resumed the tune under his breath and placed his next hand 3 inches higher.
He's moving through the crux without pause. I am reading adhesion loads that exceed any known biological tissue limit.
That's not possible. He has no grav suspension. The strain alone should tear his muscles from the bone.
At 1,800 feet, Alexander reached the great roof, a 20-foot horizontal overhang that jutted like a stone wave.
Lock off. Reach high. The edge is there, half a pad deep. Trust the right foot.
He threw a dino, both hands slicing through air until 8 fingertips hit the lip and held.
He just jumped. Upside down, with nothing below but 2,000 feet of air.
An hour later, still above the void, Alexander paused to eat half a granola bar, crumbs floating past his chalk-dusted lips.
Oats and honey. The simplest things taste best when you are a mile up a cliff.
He glanced at the survey craft, still tracking him, and offered a thumbs up. No gesture had ever looked more casual.
I've recalculated his friction coefficient 3 times. The numbers say he shouldn't be able to stand on a 60-degree slope, let alone this.
At 0840 local time, Alexander Reeves pulled onto the summit and stood on the highest point of the granite monolith.
3 hours 23. A good rhythm, mostly. A little broken by the metal hummingbird.
Inside the survey craft, the 2 scientists sat motionless, staring at the image of a human standing casually on top of the world.
He's standing on top. No rope, no tech, just standing.
They flew back to the orbital station in silence. Inside the lab, Rylan turned to the hologram of El Capitan he had studied for 6 days.
We must retract the paper. Now, before the peer review even starts.
Retract the whole geological survey? We spent 6 days on that analysis.
Inside 18 standard hours, the journal received a terse notice. the authors retract their conclusion. El Capitan is ascent possible, down in the valley. Alexander blended into the late-morning tourists, just another dusty hiker with chalk on his shirt. No one in the crowd knew that a sentient creature had just free-soloed the vertical world, and that the galaxy's best science had just been rewritten by a granola bar. And a half-smile, the retraction notice, spread through the academic networks faster than any paper in the survey's history, igniting comment threads and emergency private messages.
The comment threads are calling us the laughingstock of the third spiral arm. They've matched our orbital footage to tourist photos.
We published what we believed was accurate. Now we correct it. That is how science works.
Breaking news. An off-world geological survey has retracted a major report after a human climber scaled El Capitan without ropes or technology. The aliens declared the ascent impossible without advanced anti-gravity. Alexander Reeves made it in 3 hours and 23 minutes.
Within hours, the story was the top trending topic across human news networks, replaying drone footage of the summit and the alien craft hovering nearby.
The human networks have orbital footage of our craft hovering next to the climber. They're calling it the cosmic photobomb.
We contain the narrative. The review board will understand a corrected scientific position.
They won't. The council will demand a formal inquiry before the cycle is out. We embarrass the entire geological discipline.
That cycle, the Galactic Council dispatched a formal inquiry mandating a full review of the Melora team's methodology and a re-evaluation of Earth's gravity classification. The council chamber filled with delegates as Councillor Theris rose to open the emergency session.
The Melora report was filed in good faith, but then retracted before review. We require transparency for the records.
Tessic projected the raw biometrics onto the central hologram. Heart rate, adhesion coefficients, and the climber's 3-hour arc.
These numbers show a biological entity operating at sustained outputs we reserved for emergency power assist in heavy machinery.
We stand by the retraction. The error was a failure of imagination, not method, but the data now speaks.
This council must determine, is Earth's gravity classification safe for interspecies travel, or have we underestimated the entire planetary category?
A vote to form a review committee passed within moments. The Melora team would be investigated. Tessic's shoulders sagged. The inquiry was now a formal investigation, and their careers hung on the outcome.
We'll survive this. The truth is on our side, even if it took a human to show us.
The council adjourned for 4 standard cycles. On Earth, the sun rose over El Capitan, and climbers were already warming up. Maya Jung caught up with Alexander Reeves as he walked away from the shuttle stop, still dusted in granite and chalk.
The alien scientists watched you for hours. What went through your head when you saw their craft?
Broke my rhythm a little.
Broke your rhythm. The Galactic Council just announced a full inquiry. They're re-evaluating our planetary gravity classification. And you are telling me rhythm was your biggest issue?
If the rhythm goes, you fall. The rock doesn't read the news. I had to keep it together.
So the aliens were basically background noise?
Pretty much. I finished my granola bar. That was the real high point.
The clip went viral across 3 systems. By nightfall, Alexander sat in his van and opened his messages. He typed, "El Cap again next weekend. I want the record." Ryan's reply lit the screen. "In, sub 3 is ours. They won't need a committee to figure that one out." In the Melora Orbital Lab, Tessic compared the climbing footage with the medical scans of human anatomy, her console scrolling through terabytes of new data.
Look at the tendon density. Human fingers can generate gripping force that would crack the shells of most climbing species. It's not adhesive, it's pure crushing strength.
And the heart rate. He sustained over 150 for 3 hours without oxygen assistance. Their cardiovascular system is built for pursuit.
VO2 max readings are off the charts. This species evolved to chase prey until it drops from exhaustion. That's persistence hunting, not climbing.
Rylan rubbed his eyes, then stared at the simulation of human perspiration and capillary response. The adaptation was seamless.
They climb for sport, not for food, not for migration. For sport, that is what we missed.
He stood and walked to the main holographic interface, fingers already drafting a new addendum.
Humanity, apex climbers of the known galaxy. Recommend immediate reclassification of Earth's gravitational hazard index.
You are going to submit that? The Council will think we're panicking. They'll say we're overcompensating.
The addendum transmitted, and the galactic net lit up with notifications from every academic distribution node. The Council reconvened earlier than scheduled. The addendum had forced their hand.
We cannot decide this from orbit. I am authorizing a direct observation mission. The Melora team will go to Earth.
The order reached the Melora orbital station within minutes, flashing across the main lab interface.
We're going to Earth. Pack the field kits. We leave in 6 hours.
In 6 hours? We don't even have environmental suits rated for that gravity well.
The shuttle descended through the California dawn, landing in a meadow still wet with dew.
Gravity is heavier here. The cold bites. How do these creatures endure, let alone climb?
A quarter-mile away, 2 headlamps bobbed in the dark at the base of the wall. Tape wrapped around fingers, chalk bags cinched tight.
We go at 0430, smooth and fast. No stopping for alien photo ops this time.
At 0430, they pulled onto the granite. The timer started, and the only sound was the scrape of rubber on crystal.
2 climbers, not one. The tall one is leading.
There is communication. The leader is showing the second exactly where to place his hands.
High on the wall, Alexander tapped a tiny crimp with his chalked fingertip, then gestured for Ryan to match the hold.
Pinch it hard. Don't grip like a door handle.
Ryan's fingers closed on the hold, and his body swung into balance. The move was precise, exactly as shown.
They learn through direct instruction at lethal heights. This is not reckless. It is educational.
Every climb is a lesson. They're passing down a physical language from generation to generation.
Rylan watched the dynamic between the 2 humans and slowly lowered the imaging device.
The climb is a ritual, a cultural transmission. They are not defying gravity. They are celebrating it.
And on the wall, the 2 climbers continued upward. The younger one trusting every word. The older man said, as the galaxy began to understand. 4 hours into the climb, the 2 humans had not stopped. Their heart rates had barely spiked above a steady, rhythmic beat.
Their metabolic recovery rate is immediate. They're consuming stored energy as if they're designed for endless pursuit.
They evolved to chase prey until it drops from exhaustion. This planet does not just demand strength. It shaped them into pursuit predators.
The Melora shuttle's field lab activated at Rylan's command, projecting a historical record of human persistence hunting across the African savanna.
This is not a standard garden world. Earth is a death world, and these creatures are its native apex.
His fingers flew across the interface, drafting a formal proposal titled Earth, Death World Reclassification.
Rylan, if we transmit this, the Council will quarantine the entire system. Humanity will be isolated.
The science demands it. We cannot hide what they are, but we can frame it accurately.
Rylan saved the proposal to the shuttle's secure buffer, but did not transmit. The weight of the decision pressed on his shoulders, like the planet's own gravity high above. The 2 humans broke through a cloud layer. Granite glowing gold beneath them, the summit ridge just visible now. At exactly 7:42 local time, Alexander Reeves and Ryan Park pulled onto the summit together. The stopwatch read 3 hours, 12 minutes.
3:12. Sub 3 next time. Told you.
Rylan watched the summit embrace through the binoculars, then turned and walked into the shuttle without a word. Inside the shuttle, He opened the saved proposal and pressed transmit. The Death World classification request shot across the galactic net. Within the hour, the Galactic Council reconvened for the second emergency session in a single cycle.
We have a formal petition to classify Earth as a death world. The evidence is compelling, but the implications are severe.
They'll quarantine them. This is all my fault.
The data is undeniable. Earth is not a garden world. It is a crucible. Its apex species climbs for recreation.
A vote motion was raised, but the chamber erupted in argument. Delegates shouted over each other until Tharis slammed the podium.
The motion is tabled. We reconvene after a full committee review. This council is adjourned.
The review committee convened behind closed doors, but no consensus emerged. The Death World classification remained too severe for half the delegates.
Without direct testimony from the field team, this council cannot act. We require the Melora investigator to address us personally.
I will speak. Transport me to the council ring. I will present the evidence myself.
The council granted him a hearing for the following cycle. The chamber adjourned, leaving the galaxy in uneasy limbo. Rylan ended the comm and stared at the hologram of Earth rotating slowly in his lab.
I must make them see what I saw. Not just data. The trust. The ritual. The chalk on their hands.
He began arranging the evidence: climbing footage, metabolic scans, cultural analysis. The proposal needed to be more than a label. In Yosemite, Alexander Reeves sat in his van, unaware that a purple-skinned alien was about to redefine his species' place in the universe. The galaxy held its breath. In the council archives, a single line was added to the Earth file: classification pending, hearing scheduled. Rylan sat alone in the Melora lab late into the ship's night, cycling through every second of ground footage they had captured.
You have not slept, and you keep replaying the teaching sequence.
Because that is the part that breaks the Death World label. They do not simply survive, they protect each other.
They do not deserve quarantine. The council will isolate them cruelly.
The label is accurate, but accuracy without context is just another kind of error.
He called up the Death World proposal on his tablet. Then, with a deliberate gesture, he deleted the entire file.
You deleted it? After everything?
He opened a blank document and typed, "Any vertical Earth surface should be assumed climbable by humans. Plan accordingly."
This is not a Death World classification. It is a travel advisory, one that respects what they are. Now the council must decide. But at least they will decide with the truth.
The council chamber fell quiet as Rylan Kaur stepped to the speaker's podium. Behind him, the new advisory clause was projected for all delegates to read.
I have withdrawn my Death World proposal. In its place, I submit a travel advisory. Any vertical Earth surface should be assumed climbable by humans. Plan accordingly.
You wish to replace a classification with a warning. That is unusual.
Human climbing is not a threat to be quarantined. It is a cultural strength. I saw them teach each other at lethal heights. They represent the best of what we might become.
The chamber stirred. A holographic Earth rotated above the floor, the advisory text circling it in a silent orbit.
I withdraw my Death World motion. This advisory, vetted by the committee, will serve the galaxy well.
A motion to form a drafting committee passed with near unanimous consent. The travel advisory would become official policy.
They did it. They actually chose compassion.
The new clause was entered into the Galactic Council's standard travel advisory, listed under Earth's planetary file. In Yosemite, Alexander Reeves's phone buzzed with a news alert, but he was already at the wall, chalking up for the weekend.
Live from Yosemite. Alexander Reeves and Ryan Park are on El Capitan, chasing a sub-3-hour ascent. No ropes, just chalk and sheer nerve.
They climbed in perfect sync, hands finding holds with machine precision, the valley shrinking beneath them.
At the great roof, The clock showed 47 minutes. Alexander led, Ryan followed every move like a shadow.
Then Ryan's foot popped. He swung wide, one hand flailing, and the gasps from below were sharp.
Left hand solid. Shake the right and rebuild. You got this.
Ryan exhaled, matched the hold, and pulled himself back into balance. The crisis had lasted 4 seconds.
They're through the roof, pacing at 112 now. If they keep this up, it's a new record.
The summit came into view at 2:41. The final 100 feet took 17 minutes, a testament to endurance.
Make that advisory permanent. They just proved it again.
The stopwatch on Alexander's dusty wrist read 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 33 seconds. He raised a chalked fist, and across the system, the message was clear.
The travel advisory is adopted. Any vertical Earth surface should be assumed climbable by humans. Plan accordingly.
The advisory was uplinked to every galactic database within the hour, appearing on every travel registry. Simultaneously, the retraction paper was published with its new title, El Capitan, Reclassification Required. Earth's apex species climbs recreationally. The original erroneous paper was formally withdrawn, its conclusions marked as invalid.
It's official. The advisory is now permanent. They won't forget this.
The clause was entered into the Galactic Council's addendum to the Traveler's Code. Under planetary hazards across the system, travel monitors began displaying the new warning beside Earth's coordinates. The Melora Geological Survey Office released a statement accepting full responsibility for the initial misclassification. The galactic news nets carried the retraction and advisory as their lead item for 3 standard cycles. On Earth, the cliffs stood unchanged, their cracks still waiting for human fingers.
This is Maya Jiang reporting. The Galactic Council has officially adopted a travel advisory stating, and I quote, "Any vertical Earth surface should be assumed climbable by humans. Plan accordingly." It's the culmination of a week that rewrote planetary science. I am with Alexander Reeves, the man who free-soloed El Capitan and inadvertently forced alien geologists to retract a Tier -4 impossibility claim. Mr. Reeves, now that the galaxy officially warns about human climbing, what's your reaction?
Broke my rhythm a little.
That's it! They changed planetary classification, issued a galaxy-wide advisory, and your thought is about rhythm?
The rock doesn't care about classifications. It only cares if you fall. Rhythm keeps you alive. The advisory is just noise.
The clip of his words went viral for the second time, spawning memes that even alien networks picked up. The phrase "just noise" becoming a cultural touchstone. By the next morning, official Galactic Council signage appeared at Yosemite's most visited overlooks, the stark orange warnings impossible to miss. The sign read, "Warning. Vertical Earth surfaces are ascendable by this planet's native species. Do not attempt to follow without equivalent adaptation." Alexander Reeves walked past one such sign, not even glancing at it, his eyes on the granite wall as he hummed a half-remembered melody. The council chamber fell quiet as Councillor Tharis addressed the assembly one final time.
The Melora Geological Survey Office made an error born of ignorance, not malice. This council extends its formal apology to humanity.
Across the system, Maya Jiang secured the first post-advisory interview with Rylan Kaur.
You called El Capitan impossible. What do you say to the human who proved you wrong?
I was wrong. They taught us something about strength that no sensor could detect.
That evening, Alexander found a folded note tucked under the windshield wiper of his van. The note read, "Thank you for showing us the impossible, Rylan Kaur."
He read it twice, then clipped it to the visor with a mangy old carabiner.
That night, a quiet understanding passed between two species no longer separated by ignorance. Rylan Kaur closed the file on El Capitan, but he would never again assume a world's limits from orbit. Yosemite, now carried the alien advisory at every major trailhead, orange and unmissable. Alexander laced a fresh pair of climbing shoes, the soles still smooth and black.
Gotta break these in. Nothing like 1,000 feet of edging to do it.
Ryan arrived with a stopwatch and a pair of chalk bags, already fluffed.
Sunday. Sub 3 or we're doing laps until we get it.
We'll get it. The rock feels sticky this week.
That night, Alexander's phone buzzed softly on the van's dashboard, the screen painting the cabin blue. Ryan's message read, "Chalks pre-crushed, shoes are resolved, Sunday, 0430. No alien hummingbirds allowed." He replied with the only word that mattered. Outside, El Capitan waited, its seams and cracks already memorized by the man who would climb it faster than any before. Alexander Reeves returned to the wall the following afternoon, alone, chasing a new line of cracks. He moved through a thin sequence of edges, testing the new shoes, his mind quiet.
Always the same hum, the same focus. The advisory didn't change a thing.
In the Melora orbital station, the central map updated Earth's status, a small climbing icon now permanently etched beside the planet. The advisory had become a permanent fixture, as fixed as the rock itself. Rylan Core watched the icon appear and made a final log entry.
They will never stop. The advisory is not a barrier. It's a description of what they do.
He turned off the recording and allowed himself a rare, flickering smile. Night fell over Yosemite. The wall was dark, but a faint headlamp bobbed halfway up. 10 hours until the attempt. 10 hours until they would try to prove, once more, that the impossible was just a rhythm they hadn't yet found. At 0430 Sunday, the stopwatch beeped and their hands found the granite. Silence, then the scrape of rubber on crystal. They climbed without words, a seamless rhythm built on years of partnership. The wall had become home. In the Melora Orbital Lab, Rylan Core watched the live feed, his expression no longer surprised, only quietly expectant.
The rock was dry, the rhythm unbroken. No hovering craft, just the hum and the hold.
The route unfolded exactly as planned, each crux flowing into the next without hesitation. At the great roof, Alexander's move was fluid, and Ryan followed without a single word of guidance needed. The summit ridge, then the flat granite. Alexander tapped the stopwatch. 3 hours, 1 minute.
3:01. Rhythm was better today. Told you sub 3 was coming.
Rylan Core allowed himself a single, slow nod, then turned away from the monitor. The galaxy was learning, and beneath the stars, the granite waited, its hold still sticky with chalk, its cracks still calling to any human who would listen.